The Recovery Kernel. Substance-Specific Navigation Series. How to recover from alcohol. Using the Recovery Kernel Framework. Alcohol use disorder, heavy drinking, beer/wine/spirits, alcohol medication dependence. Warning: harm reduction resource, not medical advice. Crisis, call 911 or text 988. Alcohol withdrawal can be fatal. Read Section 3 first. A note before you begin. This guide opens with something no other Recovery Kernel navigation guide has opened with, a medical warning that must be read before anything else. Alcohol withdrawal can kill you. Not as a metaphor. Not as a statistical abstraction. It can produce seizures, cardiac arrhythmias, and a syndrome called delirium tremens that carries a mortality rate of up to 15% without medical treatment. This is not true of cannabis withdrawal or stimulant withdrawal or even most opioid withdrawal. It is specifically, distinctly true of alcohol, and of benzodiazepines, which operate through the same mechanism. If you are a heavy, daily drinker, meaning you drink to function, drink in the morning, experience shaking or sweating or nausea when you go without alcohol for several hours, you must not stop abruptly without medical supervision. The Recovery Kernel framework in this guide fully applies to your recovery. But the first step is not a supplement stack. It is a phone call to a physician or an urgent care clinic or a detox facility. For moderate to heavy drinkers without physical dependence, those who drink problematically but do not drink to prevent physical withdrawal, the guide below applies more directly. The distinction is clinical and important. If you are not sure which category you fall into, assume the more cautious one and seek medical assessment. Warning: if you are physically dependent on alcohol, stop and read this now. Do you drink in the morning to stop shaking? Do you experience sweating, rapid heartbeat, or nausea when you go without alcohol for several hours? Have you ever had a seizure or hallucinations when stopping or reducing alcohol? Have you been drinking heavily and daily for weeks, months, or years? If you answered yes to any of the above, do not stop drinking abruptly. Call your doctor, go to urgent care, or contact an alcohol detox facility before reducing or stopping. This is not a recommendation. It is a medical necessity. Medically supervised alcohol detox with benzodiazepine tapering is standard of care. It keeps people alive. Please use it. Once you are medically stable, whether through supervised detox or because you have confirmed you are not in the physical dependence category, the full Recovery Kernel framework below is designed for exactly your biology and your recovery journey. Section 1: What alcohol did to your brain. Classical: building the centurion, the most socially sanctioned neurotoxin in human history. Alcohol is unique among common substances of abuse in that it does not operate through a single receptor system. It touches nearly every major neurotransmitter system in the brain simultaneously, which is why its withdrawal syndrome is more complex and more dangerous than almost any other substance, and why its recovery requires the most comprehensive biological approach. Understanding what alcohol actually did, not as moral failure but as pharmacology, is the foundation of everything that follows. The 5 systems alcohol disrupted. The acetaldehyde problem, unique to alcohol. Classical: building the centurion, the poison your liver is trying to clear. Alcohol is metabolized in the liver through 2 steps, first to acetaldehyde, by the enzyme ADH1B, then to acetate, by the enzyme ALDH2. Acetaldehyde is directly toxic, it damages DNA, proteins, and cell membranes, and is responsible for the flushing, nausea, and rapid heartbeat of the hangover. This pathway is genetically variable in ways that profoundly affect alcohol's impact and risk profile. What chronic alcohol did to your body, beyond the brain. Classical: building the centurion, the whole system was involved. Alcohol is not merely a brain drug. Years of heavy drinking produce systemic effects that must be addressed in recovery alongside the neurological reconstruction. Liver: fatty liver alcoholic hepatitis cirrhosis is the progression with unchecked heavy use. Even without cirrhosis, liver function is often significantly impaired, affecting the metabolism of every supplement and medication in this guide. Liver function tests, LFTs, should be assessed at the start of recovery. Thiamine, B1, depletion, alcohol blocks thiamine absorption. Severe thiamine deficiency produces Wernicke's encephalopathy, a neurological emergency involving confusion, eye movement abnormalities, and loss of coordination. If you have been a heavy drinker and experience any of these symptoms, go to an emergency room immediately. High-dose thiamine, B1, is the treatment. This is not a supplement protocol situation, it is a medical emergency. Magnesium depletion, alcohol dramatically increases urinary magnesium excretion. Magnesium deficiency worsens anxiety, sleep disruption, cardiac arrhythmia risk, and seizure threshold, all of which are already elevated in alcohol withdrawal. Magnesium repletion is the highest priority supplement intervention in alcohol recovery. Gut and microbiome devastation, alcohol destroys the intestinal barrier, disrupts the microbiome, and produces intestinal permeability, leaky gut, that drives systemic inflammation, mood disruption, and craving. The gut-brain axis, Protocol 09 and Centurion Paper 18 in the main compendium, is a central repair target. Cardiovascular, chronic heavy drinking produces cardiomyopathy, arrhythmia, particularly atrial fibrillation, and elevated blood pressure. Cardiovascular assessment should be part of early recovery medical evaluation. Immune suppression, alcohol chronically suppresses immune function. Many people in early alcohol recovery are immunologically depleted. Nutrition and sleep are the primary immune repair tools. Section 2, Your Genomic Blueprint. Alcohol use disorder has one of the highest heritability estimates of any condition in medicine, approximately 50 to 60%. This is not destiny. It is biology that can be understood, worked with, and addressed. The Recovery Kernel's genomic framework reveals which specific biological systems made alcohol feel necessary, and which ones most urgently need support in recovery. The DNA testing panel for alcohol recovery. Phenotyping without test results. The compendium's phenotyping tools apply directly here. Ask yourself: did alcohol primarily calm you, reduce anxiety, quiet the mind, make social situations manageable? Likely Sage COMT, MET/MET, plus GABA-2 high risk. Anxiety is your primary recovery target. Did alcohol make you feel alive, social, confident, and stimulated? Social reward pattern, likely OPRM1A118G plus possible warrior COMT. Endorphin system and dopamine support are priority. Do you have a family history of alcohol use disorder across multiple generations? DRD2 deficit and GABA-2 variants likely. RDS is probably a significant component. Did alcohol cause you more physical discomfort, flushing, rapid heartbeat, than others seem to experience? Possible ADH1B fast variant or ALDH2 variant. Liver support is elevated priority. Did antidepressants never quite work for you? Did folate supplements seem to help? Likely MTHFR involvement. Start 5-MTHF immediately. Section 3, the Detox Protocol. Warning: read this section before any other action if you are currently drinking. 3.1, Medical Detox, when it is required. Classical building the Centurion, the line that cannot be crossed without medical support. Alcohol withdrawal is the only common substance withdrawal where the following sequence is possible, documented, and occurs without warning: anxiety, tremor, agitation, seizure, delirium tremens, death. This sequence can begin within 6 to 48 hours of the last drink in a physically dependent person. Medical detox is required, not recommended, required, if you meet any of the following criteria. You drink daily and have done so for more than 2 to 3 weeks. You experience any physical withdrawal symptoms between drinks: shaking, sweating, racing heartbeat, nausea, anxiety that alcohol relieves. You have ever had a seizure during alcohol withdrawal. You have ever had delirium tremens, confusion, hallucinations, fever, extreme agitation. You are also using benzodiazepines or other GABAergic substances. Combined withdrawal is especially dangerous. You have a GABA2 high-risk variant. If you know this, inform your detox team. What medical detox looks like. Outpatient detox, appropriate for mild to moderate physical dependence with a safe home environment and daily medical contact. Benzodiazepine taper, typically diazepam or chlordiazepoxide, prescribed to prevent seizures while the brain recalibrates. Inpatient detox, required for severe dependence, prior seizure history, GABA2 high-risk profile, co-occurring medical conditions, or absence of safe home environment. 3 to 7 days with continuous monitoring. The CIWA protocol, Clinical Institute Withdrawal Assessment for Alcohol, the standard tool medical teams use to assess and manage withdrawal severity. Ask your detox team about it. Understanding it helps you communicate your symptoms accurately. Warning: never substitute supplements for medical detox in physical dependence. Supplements do not prevent withdrawal seizures. The supplement and peptide protocol in this guide begins after medical stabilization, not instead of it. If you are not physically dependent, or once you have completed medical detox, the biological reconstruction framework below applies fully. 3.2 The withdrawal timeline, post-medically supervised detox. Classical building the centurion, what the brain is moving through. 3.3 Post-acute withdrawal syndrome in alcohol recovery. Warning: pause episodes can last up to 2 years. This is not relapse. It is neurobiology. Post-acute withdrawal syndrome in alcohol recovery is particularly prolonged and can be severe. GABA and glutamate systems that were chronically imbalanced do not simply normalize and stay normalized, they oscillate during the recovery period, producing episodes of acute anxiety, depression, insomnia, and craving that can feel indistinguishable from early withdrawal. Pause is most commonly triggered by stress, poor sleep, illness, grief, conflict, high-sugar food, caffeine, and exposure to alcohol cues. The GABA2 high-risk genotype is associated with more severe and prolonged pause. When a pause episode hits, return to Protocol 01, shelter, in the main compendium. Increase magnesium. Call your support structure. Do not interpret the episode as evidence that recovery is not working. It is the nervous system calibrating, not failing. Section 4, Biological Reconstruction. This section addresses the simultaneous reconstruction of 5 systems that alcohol disrupted: GABA/glutamate balance, dopamine, serotonin, the opioid/endorphin system, and the methylation foundation that underlies all neurotransmitter synthesis. These are not sequential targets, they are addressed in parallel, with priorities determined by your specific genomic profile and clinical presentation. Everything in this section, discuss with your physician or pharmacist before starting, especially given the liver involvement common in alcohol recovery. Some supplements are contraindicated in liver disease. 4.1 The emergency nutritional replenishment. Classical building the centurion, the body was starved while the drinking continued. Chronic heavy alcohol use produces a specific nutritional crisis that must be addressed before anything else in the recovery supplement stack can work effectively. The depleted brain cannot synthesize neurotransmitters without precursors. The precursors cannot be converted without cofactors. The cofactors were systematically destroyed by years of drinking. 4.2 GABA system restoration. Classical building the centurion, rebuilding the brake system that was borrowed against for years. The GABA system does not replenish through supplementation the way the dopamine system can be partially supported with precursors. GABA receptor upregulation is a structural process that occurs through abstinence and time. What supplements can do is support the conditions that allow this upregulation to proceed safely and effectively. 4.3 Serotonin and dopamine reconstruction. Once the nutritional emergency is addressed and the GABA system is being supported, serotonin and dopamine reconstruction become the central biological targets. These systems were chronically disrupted by alcohol and are the substrate for the depression, anhedonia, and motivational deficits that drive relapse in alcohol recovery. 4.4 Liver Support Protocol. Classical building the centurion, the organ that processed every drop must now heal. Warning: if you have known liver disease, cirrhosis, or significantly elevated LFTs, consult your physician before starting any supplement protocol. Some supplements are hepatotoxic in liver disease despite being safe in healthy liver function. 4.5 The Craving Interrupt Protocol. Classical building the centurion, alcohol cravings are not requests. They are neurological events. Alcohol cravings in recovery operate through at least 3 distinct neurobiological channels: GABA deficit craving, anxiety-driven, dopamine deficit craving, reward-seeking, and opioid/endorphin deficit craving, social pain and longing. Understanding which channel is activating the craving changes how you respond to it. The 5-minute craving interrupt, execute in order. Identify the craving type. Which of the 3 above is this? Anxiety-based, flatness-based, or loneliness-based? Naming it correctly changes the response. Execute the 4-7-8 breath. 4 full cycles. No exceptions. This is the universal first step regardless of craving type. Take the appropriate supplement. Magnesium plus L-theanine for GABA craving. L-tyrosine or rhodiola for dopamine craving, if it's morning and you haven't taken them. Neither replaces steps 1 to 2, they support what your body is already doing. Change one environmental variable. The craving circuit requires the cue environment. Move location, change what is in your field of vision, go outside. Make contact. 1 text or call. Not to discuss the craving, just to be in connection. Isolation is the environment where alcohol cravings execute. Execute the natural reward. From Section 6. Whatever is highest intensity and immediately available. You are practicing the redirect, not just resisting, but replacing. Document. Trigger, type, intensity, 0 to 10, action, outcome. The documented craving becomes data. Data becomes leverage. 4.6 Peptide Support Layer. The following peptides have mechanistic relevance to GABA system recovery, neuroinflammation reduction, and liver repair. Research compounds, physician discussion required. Section 5, Rebuilding Sleep. Classical building the centurion, alcohol did not help you sleep. It sedated you. These are not the same thing. One of the most common and most dangerous beliefs in alcohol use disorder is that alcohol helps sleep. Alcohol produces sedation, rapid loss of consciousness. It does not produce sleep. It suppresses REM sleep almost entirely, fragments sleep architecture, reduces slow-wave deep sleep, and produces rebound insomnia in the second half of the night as alcohol is metabolized. The result is that years of drinking to sleep produce a brain that has never experienced genuine restorative sleep while drinking, and now, in early recovery, struggles to sleep at all because the sedation mechanism is gone and the brain has not practiced the natural sleep initiation process for years. Sleep reconstruction in alcohol recovery is one of the most important and most underestimated aspects of the process. Insomnia is the most common cited driver of early relapse. It is also one of the most responsive targets to the supplement and behavioral protocol below. Melatonin, 0.5 to 1 mg sublingual, 30 to 60 minutes before target sleep time. Low dose is more effective than high dose. High doses disrupt circadian rhythm. Magnesium glycinate, 300 to 400 mg, 1 hour before bed, supports GABA, reduces glutamate excitotoxicity, lowers core temperature. Glycin, 3,5-G, 30 minutes before bed, reduces core body temperature, the primary physiological sleep trigger, also NMDA coagonist that supports the GABA-glutamate rebalancing. L-theanine, 200 to 400 mg evening, alpha-wave promotion, reduces the anxious hyperarousal that prevents sleep onset. 5-HTP, 50 to 100 mg evening, serotonin precursor that converts to melatonin, supports both mood and sleep simultaneously. Phosphatidylserine, 100 to 200 mg evening, reduces evening cortisol. The HPA axis dysregulation from chronic drinking elevates cortisol and prevents sleep onset. Also execute Protocol 17, Sleep Architecture, from the main compendium in full. The Alcohol Recovery Editions, avoid all alcohol including cooking alcohol and mouthwash with alcohol, even trace amounts activate the reward circuit and disrupt sleep architecture in early recovery. The vivid dreams of early recovery are REM rebound, they are healing, not symptoms to suppress. Section 6, Porting the Addiction, Finding Your Own GABA. Classical Building the Centurion, Centurion Paper C28 applied to alcohol recovery. Alcohol provided at least 3 distinct neurochemical states depending on how, when, and why you used it. Each must be replaced by natural means that do not cost you everything else. What alcohol was actually providing. The natural GABA architecture for alcohol recovery. Classical Building the Centurion, building the internal brake system the drug was running. The Sage Constitution's recovery, and alcohol recovery is predominantly, though not exclusively, a sage story, requires building a life that provides sufficient nervous system calm through own means. This is not about eliminating stimulation. It is about building a resilient internal regulation system that does not require a substance to function. A daily contemplative practice of minimum 10 minutes. Not as a preference. As a non-negotiable biological necessity. This is what builds the endogenous GABA tone that alcohol was supplementing. Protocol 04, Dharma Recovery, in the main compendium is the reference. Vigorous aerobic exercise at least 4 times per week. The BDNF release from sustained aerobic exercise is the primary neural repair mechanism for alcohol-damaged brains. The endorphin release addresses the opioid/endorphin system simultaneously. This is not lifestyle advice, it is the most powerful non-pharmacological intervention for alcohol recovery that exists. A creative practice with genuine depth. The flow state is the natural GABA state. Total absorption in a demanding activity quiets the anxious mind through the mechanism of full attentional engagement rather than chemical suppression. Writing, music, visual art, cooking, building. Depth over breadth. Authentic community. Not performance community. Not social media community. In-person connection with people who know your actual situation, with whom the mask is optional. The endorphin and oxytocin system that alcohol was activating responds specifically to this. 12-step communities provide this for many people, and the compendium's Protocol 04 and Protocol 08 address the social architecture of recovery broadly. Nature exposure as a scheduled intervention. Not incidentally. Minimum 20 minutes daily. The recovering nervous system's cortisol levels normalize measurably in natural environments in ways they do not in urban or indoor settings. Service. The act of genuinely helping another person activates the reward, connection, and meaning circuits simultaneously and provides the sense of being useful in the world that alcohol's social lubricant was partially producing. Many people in long-term alcohol recovery report that service is the most reliable source of sustained well-being they have found. Section 7, Navigating the Recovery Kernel, Your Protocol Map. Section 8, The Medical Support Layer. Alcohol use disorder has the most robust evidence base of any addiction for pharmacological treatment. The medications below are underutilized. Studies consistently show that fewer than 10% of people with AUD who could benefit from these medications receive them. This is a treatment gap that costs lives. Bring this section to your physician. Ask directly about these options. The recovery kernel framework and pharmacological treatment are not in competition, they are designed to work together. FDA-approved medications for alcohol use disorder. A final word. Classical Building the Centurion, the system that chose alcohol was not broken. It was solving a real problem badly. The GABA system that could not quiet itself. The endorphin system that could not generate adequate social warmth. The dopamine system that could not find enough reward in the ordinary texture of daily life. The methylation system that could not synthesize sufficient serotonin. These are not character defects. They are biological vulnerabilities, specific, genetic, addressable. Alcohol solved these problems. For years, perhaps for decades, it solved them. The solution was real. And it was destroying everything else in the process. What the recovery kernel offers is a different kind of solution, slower, less dramatic, requiring daily practice and biological support in community and time. But a solution that does not cost the things alcohol was costing. That does not narrow your life down to the single question of when the next drink will come. The brain volume lost to alcohol grows back. The GABA receptors recover. The serotonin system rebuilds. The liver heals. The relationships that were strained can be repaired, not all of them, and not quickly, but meaningfully. The cognitive function that alcohol was impairing returns, often surpassing the pre-drinking baseline because the tools built in recovery, the breath work, the sleep, the nutrition, the exercise, the contemplative practice, are actively building a more capable brain than the one that started drinking. The recovery kernel was built for people who needed a more precise map than the generic one being handed out. You now have the alcohol-specific version of that map. The navigation continues in the main compendium. Use it. Refer to the Recovery Kernel Complete Centurion Compendium for all referenced protocols. Crisis, call or text 988 Emergency, 911 SAMHSA, 1-800-662-4357. Warning: harm reduction resource, not medical advice. How to recover from alcohol using the Recovery Kernel Substance-Specific Navigation Series.